Don't you think he would tell us that? Gentiles years later? Yes. Unless you turn to Jesus, we have no hope of the wrath that is to come. Don't ever listen to people. Any pastor was get in this pulpit, or you were to move to another church, and that's not the case. That pastor's not warning you of the wrath that is to come. You better find you another church. You better find you another pastor, because you will be led astray. These pastors, these so-called leaders of these churches, they're called hirelings. Verse 12, it says, "But a hireling as he who is not the shepherd, one who does not own the sheep. He sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep." He leaves, he flees. And what happens? The wolf comes in and scatters and catches the sheep. That's what happens. A hireling is not the shepherd. That means he doesn't represent the shepherd. They would hire these people to watch their flocks. And usually a hireling was not a hireling until after the fact, until they were found out. You guys in here who have businesses and you are in charge of other folks, you understand that. When you hire somebody, man, they're good. If you hire them, you have confidence. You think they're going to be a great doorkeeper. They're going to represent you and your business, and they're going to do what you've asked them to do. When do they become a hireling? When that shepherd came back and all of the sheep were scattered. All they seen was wool and blood and carnage. And where is he at? Where's the hireling? The hireling would probably show up and want a paycheck later. That's what he's talking about. They're pastors, they're so-called pastors out there. That's their mode of operation. They don't own the sheep. Now, I got thinking about that. I'm trying to put it in this perspective. You know, the doorkeeper didn't own the sheep. And the hireling didn't own the sheep. Who owned the sheep? The shepherd owned the sheep, but it wasn't talking about that in that context. When it said own, it pretty much meant that the hireling did not belong with the sheep. In other words, he was not purchased by the shepherd. He didn't belong. He wasn't a Christian, pretty much is what it's saying. Hireling didn't own the sheep. He didn't belong to them. He sees the wolves coming and flees. We'll talk about what the wolves are in just a moment. But know that a hireling retreats. A hireling backs up. A hireling gives the wolf open and free rein on the sheep. I pray the Lord would never, ever, ever allow wolves in Philippi or pastors that don't do what they have to do and take a stand against those wolves. That's what pastors do. That's what doorkeepers do. A hireling will not do that for you, Philippi. A hireling will run for the hills. A hireling will let you sort it out. It says, not going to sound the alarm on the thieves and robbers. That's why it's so important to preach Christ. That's why it's so important to preach the cross, to preach hell hot. Why? Because it's coming. I got to warn you, listen to